Welcome back, tribe. Have one here from Psych Hacks. Men do the right things with the wrong women.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is men do the right things with the wrong women. This principle applies to both men and women, but it's just too much content to cover in one episode. So I'll be talking about how men do the right things with the wrong women first, and then I'll discuss how women do the right things with the wrong men in a future episode. First, a caveat. In these episodes, I'm going to be assigning numbers to people. Now, I'm not doing this simply as a means of measuring the person's physical attractiveness. More than anything else, I'm using these numbers to represent subjective interest. So a 6 here is someone you could kind of take or leave, whereas a 9 is someone that you're actually really interested in. This has a lot to do with perceived physical attractiveness, especially with men, but it's definitely not the whole story, okay? Let's get to it. We'll start with approach. Guys, imagine you're at a bar and you see a 6 on a bar stool and a 9 in the corner surrounded by a bunch of her friends. After a couple of drinks, most men are actually going to end up approaching the 6. Why? Because they're going to incorrectly perceive her to be the safer option. The fact of the matter is that most men are intimidated by attractive women. They think that women also use the metric that men apply to them, which is a failure of intersex understanding. This leads them to think that the 9 is out of their league, so she functionally represents punching outside their weight class. On the other hand, they tend to think that the 6 should be like shooting fish in a barrel, especially if they consider themselves to be like a 7 or an 8. They're more likely to think it's this woman's lucky day or this is a sure thing. The issue is that it certainly isn't a sure thing. This is because while men tend to titrate their standards to kinda match the attractiveness of the particular woman they're dealing with, women kinda don't. I know it might sound bonkers, but that 6 is very likely to have the same standards with respect to the men she's willing to mate and date.
Yeah, dude, visualize it like this. The way women behave with the men they're attracted to is like a steep cliff, just like that. So it's like hot or not, it doesn't matter. There's no varying levels of hot. It's just, am I attracted to the guy? Not. Boom, and it falls off. That's how you'll get treated. Guys, it's like, I'm sort of attracted to her. I'm really attracted to her. Damn, she's hot as hell. Oh my God, I'm getting this one pregnant. Wow, queen goddess. You know, like men have a curve in how they deal with women. You know, it's like a confidence curve too, but it's the reverse. Imagine the axis going from 10 here, 9, 8, 7, 6, blah, 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 and it goes all the way down. And then this is confidence. If a dude is talking to a 1, that confidence is like way up here. I don't care about this chick at all. This is a easy layup. She's lucky to be breathing my air. I'm way too good for her. Outcome independence, abundance mentality, everything. You exude the confidence. But you put that guy here with the 10, and his confidence is going to be that flat line right here. He's going to think like, oh, she's too hot. She's got too many men talking to her. It's impossible to keep a woman like this. She's probably super bitchy. She's got an attitude. She's too high maintenance. And based on personal experience, this anecdotal, but every single guy I've talked to has experienced the same thing. The worst women to talk to is the 6s to the 8s or the 5s to the 8s. They're in that in between where they have every single guy approaching them. Every single guy is telling them how beautiful they are and blowing smoke up their ass. Every one of those guys is making her feel like she's a 10. And so the way she behaves doesn't match her actual value. That's where this delusion comes from. But you get an actual 9 or a 10. 10 is just the 9 with all your preferences. But you get these women that are on the extreme attraction level, they end up having the nicest personalities. Men that they've ever dealt with all have come from that baseline at the very bottom. Confidence opens the door for them, treats them very nice. They have very good experiences with men. Men have done things for them all the time. Most men are scared to make a move or upset them in any way. So you ask like a hot chick what she thinks about men, they always have a feminine answer. They always have like, men are great. Men are super helpful. I've never had problems with men. It's always like the butch, ugly, you know, on the other side of the scale that has like, I hate men are pigs. It's like, yeah, because men are actively behaving in a different way compared to the actual goddess queen looking chick that we've always revered in history and have assigned high value to, and like, this is the pure beautiful woman that should be exalted. You know, that's just how men appreciate beauty. And so there's different ways that we treat women. That's why they say like ugly feminists, and that's how feminism was born. You know, that joke is basically we can equalize the world for ugly chicks because they don't get free handouts. They don't get their homework done. They don't get their doors open for, you know, men aren't trying to pay for shit for those kinds of women. So when you have this extremely beautiful woman and you're approaching her, and if you just exude the same confidence, you'll most likely get shut down in a very nice manner or find out that you have an abnormal level of success. There's a reason, dude, that you see these absolute stunners with these average looking dudes, because there's average looking dudes who approach thinking they had no shot with that same level of confidence he would have approached a 3. And he was one of the few that stood out, because these women rarely get approached, believe it or not. And oftentimes they think there's something wrong with them. Like hot chicks, dude, it's mind blowing when you talk to a chick that could be on a cover of a, you know, model magazine. And she goes, I don't think I'm that attractive. Like, I don't know if there's something wrong with me. Men never approach me. Like, and she points to her average friend that gets dudes just piling up in her DMs. And they have oftentimes insecurities about how attractive they actually are. They don't believe they're attractive. Or they do, but not as much as obviously the value men would assign to them. So they're much more approachable in a weird way. Always go for the hot chick, bro. Don't settle for that mid-range average. You will be surprised. I guarantee you. Take care of yourself as a dude. I promise you, bro. Work on your body. Work on your mind. Get your money right. You can punch way above your weight. You have no idea. You really don't have any idea. Of course, aside from the massive delulu, as they call it, of most women. And if you've noticed all the videos that we've reacted to, all the delusional takes, most of them are ugly or average at best. Have you noticed? Think about this. I'm not trying to do no confirmation bias here, but most of the women making those videos are not high in SMV. Have you noticed? Find me videos of an absolutely beautiful woman and compare statistically to how many genuinely gorgeous women, not with plastic surgery and not with a ton of makeup, genuinely gorgeous women making videos that are berating men versus the dusty looking chicks. There's a reason for that, man, and it's exactly what I just described to you. So when you get yourself right as a man, I'm telling you, you can pull far above your weight. Don't settle for 5s, 6s, 7s on your journey. Don't. At best, those are practice chicks. They have way too many dudes. They're insecure because they know they're not as hot as the hot chick truly is. And they'll go and self-sabotage relationships. They're psychologically damaged because they, on their end, know they can't hold on to a man. Or at least believe that they can't hold on to a man. So those are the ones that'll cheat the most, that'll treat you like crap the most, try to manipulate you to hold on to you, try to literally damage your ego, try to make you feel like you're less than a man as a form of control to quench their anxiety at the fact that there are beautiful women around in the vicinity. It's their version of mate guarding, a twisted, toxic way of mate guarding. I've seen it happen with my own eyes to my own friends in their own relationships where a dude he's got it going on. His chick value has declined over the years or hasn't kept herself up, has gotten fat, hasn't taken care of herself at all, doesn't appreciate him anymore. And they're walking out and about. My boy's been handling his business. Other women are checking him out. Very attractive women have looked at him. And that dread that's instilled in your woman, the anxiety causes her to self-destruct the relationship. Right away, she's going to start picking at you. She's going to start fights. She's going to try to tell you that you're not shit. She's going to damage your own self-image in order to like dig her claws into you and keep you. Women do this all the time. Bro, how many relationship dudes will tell you when they come out of one of these toxic relationships, they feel completely broken, completely lost. Their confidence got sucked out of them. They're husk dudes from divorces. Just not even the financial aspect, but how they feel about themselves. I don't even know who I am anymore after leaving her. So many men report that. It's just a manipulation tactic to keep you in place, dude, because she knows she can't compete. She knows higher value women would want you. And she knows from her own friends. How many times has your girl or women you dated say, I don't know what she sees in him, talking about her friend? or she can do so much better, or right? Because he may not look a certain part or earn enough or whatever it is. That's the guy, bro, punching above his weight. That's the dude. And that other chick is in a happy relationship and your girlfriend crabbing in buckets over here trying to break it apart, advising her negative things. That's a red flag. That's your girl being negative about someone else's relationship. What do you think she does about to her own friends when the girls are out talking, comparing men, talking about their lifestyles and stuff? If your girlfriend is bad-mouthing her friend in her relationships, you're on the block too, bro. They're telling on themselves. Listen.
Than that 9 is. And this actually makes the 6 less safe than the 9. This is because it's actually going to hurt worse if and when a 6 rejects you than if and when a 9 does. Given your perceptions, if and when a 9 rejects you, you're probably going to think, yeah, I kind of get it. It was a long shot anyway. On the other hand, given your perceptions, if and when a 6 rejects you, you might actually get your ego bruised. Who does this woman think she is? I was doing her a favor. Do you understand? It's actually all in your head, but isn't everything anyways? In any case, this is a part of the reason why 6s actually tend to get approached in bars more often than 9s. And it's this attention from men that can inappropriately mislead these 6s into believing that they are perceived to be more attractive than they actually are. So let's assume that you go up to the 6 because you perceive her to be the safer option. Because you kind of believe that you're the more attractive option, you're going to act like you're the more attractive option. You're going to be more confident. You're going to take bigger risks. And most importantly, you're not really going to care about her own interest in you. After all, you're not that into her anyway. So you think it won't be any skin off your back if it falls through. That confident indifference is like crack to women. They'll swear up and down that they hate it when men behave that way, but I guarantee that they're not going home with the empathic nice guy at the end of the night.
Told you.
Next, in your interaction with the 6, you're likely going to be a bit more sexually aggressive than you would with the 9. Like, you're going to be a bit more motivated to move the encounter in the direction of a sexual opportunity. To quote Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross, it's fuck or walk. And why is that? Because if you perceive her to be a 6, there might not be much else besides the sexual opportunity to justify your continued investment of time, energy, and attention. So you're unlikely to spend the whole evening talking to this girl. You'll communicate your sexual intent more quickly and see how she responds. If she's not receptive, you'll probably cut your losses sooner and move on. And if she is receptive, you can choose to act on it or not. All other things being equal, men who are more sexually aggressive, but important caveat, not men who are too sexually aggressive, are more likely to transition a sexual opportunity into a sexual encounter. And this is simply due to the fact that it is very rare for women to take the lead on these things. Like, they can pump the brakes, but they're generally not going to step on the gas. And just like driving, men who step on the gas tend to get to where they're going more quickly. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. Also, you can tip me in proportion to the value you feel you've derived from this episode, either through the YouTube thanks button or through the donation button on my website. I don't do product placements or corporate sponsorships, so I rely on your donations to make all this happen. I'm very appreciative. Thank you for your support. I will also soon be starting a weekly newsletter, so if you want to opt in, you can do so on my website. Okay, let's get back to it. Let's say that you succeed in bringing this 6 back to your place, and you both enjoy a lovely, consensual sexual encounter. Once you're finished, how are you going to behave? Are you going to be telling this girl that she's the best you've ever had? Are you going to start planning the second date while you're still lying there in bed? Once she leaves, are you going to text her the next day? Hey, I want you to know that I had a great time last night, smiley face, winky face. No. Once you're finished, you might be thinking, when is this woman going to leave? And you're probably not going to be texting her anytime soon. After a certain amount of time, this will probably motivate her to reach out to you, because most women don't like the idea of simply being a one-night stand. And you might be cool and indifferent about the prospect of a second meeting. Do this a few more times, and this woman might be blowing up your phone, trying to invite you over for a home-cooked meal. And guys end up thinking, why is it always the ones that I'm not interested in who always seem to want a relationship with me? The answer is simple, my dudes. You did the right things with the wrong woman. I guarantee that all of the things that you did to pull the 6 are just as effective in pulling the 9.
That's a huge psychological barrier men have to get through. That was one of mine when I went to college and started getting really active too, and figuring out that you don't have to be a 007 James Bond type smooth with everything together. My best friend in college, like a brother of me, was telling me, he's like, bro, you got to get out of that mentality, because he was my roommate at the time. Well, I was his roommate at the time, staying at his place, a very nice ranch house. And he would tell me, like, stop waiting to get everything together. A chick will fuck you under a bridge in a cardboard box if she likes you. Literally what he told me. And then it was just like, boom, went out that day, came home with 2 girls. That was kind of crazy. But the mentality that you don't deserve a woman, or that you can't pull a woman because you don't have XYZ, is bullshit. If she likes you, she likes you. And when a woman truly likes you, she'll make up her own reasons why none of that stuff actually matters. She'll sell herself on the idea of you as long as she likes you. All your shortcomings in her eyes disappear. It is true. And as far as approaching these so-called 9s and you wanting to treat them differently, in that you may think like the tiers of women, or that even exists in the mentality of a woman and how she treats a man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're dating a doctor, a lawyer, a chick that works at McDonald's, a chick that comes from a family of multimillionaires, a chick that comes from a broke family, a chick that's been homeless, a stripper versus like the Queen Regent's daughter. It really does. The software is exactly the same. They respond to the same things. You don't have to behave any differently. The push-pull stuff, the dread, the outcome independence, all that stuff works exactly the same. If you act thirsty and too overly sexual, you turn them all off. If you act too aloof and not interested, she pumps the brakes, just like this guy has said. If you just act confident, even if you're not, if you just value your time, if you have things to do, don't constantly text her back 3 times in a row. Don't be too eager to start up conversation. Be your own person. Be your own man of importance. And instead of pulling 6s when you're naturally inclined to act that way, you'll get the 9s by simply doing the same thing. They will respond to it exactly the same. It's the cliff. I'm attracted to him or I'm not. And then it's the steep fall off. That's all it is. In the cliff here, there's your doctors, your lawyers, your McDonald's chick, the homeless chick, the queen's daughter, it's all here. All of them act the same. And then if they're not attracted to you, it all ends the same. There's no curves of he's kind of hot, sort of hot, mega hot. No, I either like the guy or I don't. Then it's up to your job to take the wheel and drive the car and lead the relationship. That's all it is. Get out of the mentality of thinking there's special treatment for beautiful women. There's zero special treatment. They're all the same. All women are like that is a funny saying of this community, because it's true in terms of the psychological way they respond to what men do and other behaviors they have. But it is. Don't ever forget it. The next time you go out, or if you've ever had an opportunity, or if you think back in a past when you did have opportunities and you may have fumbled it, it's because you tried to give special treatment to a woman and it backfired on you. When you treat them normal, when you place yourself above them, when you understand your own value, your own importance, and you don't act like a mixed simp, and you don't act like a spineless turd, then that value proposition will always make sense for you, and she will always respond to it. And that's essentially the game, man. It sucks that you don't learn a lot of this stuff until much later in life. I understand that for the younger dudes, my God, when you come across a hot chick and you go to talk to her for the first time, you got the butterflies, you're nervous as hell. This chick is absolutely drop dead gorgeous to you and it's intimidating and you have no idea if this is going to work, or you may be so intimidated you never even tried because you convinced yourself it wasn't going to work. You have to get rid of all of this. This is what's holding you back. Your own brain, your own mentality holds you back. I know plenty of dudes punching above their weight. And like everything else, it was a game of numbers. And they finally settled down with one. And she is stunner. All of them are. Especially in comparison to the men. Some of them looking like straight ogres under a bridge, dude. Cave trolls. But it's the fact that they kept approaching. They kept that confidence. Do you know why women say confidence? Do you know when women say, I want a confident man? You have to be confident. What's the most important thing? Confidence. They already applied the cliff analogy. I'm attracted to him. End of story. Next, because that's the baseline. I have to at least be attracted to him. Am I attracted to him? Cool. What's the most important thing you look for in a guy? Confidence. Confident. I like confident men. He has to be confident. You know what confidence means? It means you care about yourself more. It's all the things I told you a minute prior. A man who looks after himself. A man who leads a relationship. A man who's not a mixed simp. A man who won't bend over and just say yes at everything. Stands his ground. Is individual. Has boundaries in a relationship. That's what confidence is. They want a man they can't break. They want a man that's bold, that'll go after what he wants. And they see that in how you pursue them. That's what they say. I want a confident man. It's all the things I listed, man. That's what it is. When you hear that as a man, I want a confident man, you're already concocting something completely different in your head. Like you got to be, for me, it was like a James Bond, absolute perfect, smooth game all the time. Got to be dressed sharp in a suit and I have to have everything together. You got to be some world-renowned super spy or multi-millionaire with helicopters. Like guys think confidence comes from the things they have and their titles and all that shit. As women don't care about any of those when we're talking about intersex dynamics. Confidence is how you treat her in relation to yourself. That's what confidence is.
Why? Because these two don't belong to different species. They are the same animal. They are woman. And if it works on one, it will work on the other. The problem is that your attraction literally fucks with your perception. And you end up thinking that the two are somehow categorically different. They're not. That's all in your head. But what do guys do when they finally meet a woman that they're really excited about? They throw all of that effective behavior right out the window. They disclose their attraction and positive emotions quickly and clearly. They hesitate in expressing sexual interest and communicating sexual intent. They start planning the second date while they're still on the first. They text the next day. They smile and compliment and buy gifts and pursue. And none of that shit works. None of it. And it wouldn't work for the 6 either, but you wouldn't even think of doing those things with her because you wouldn't believe the effort would be justified by your attraction. Mm-hmm. My dudes, treat the 9 like the 6. When you invest any given woman with more interest and emotion than she invests in you, then you make her the adored. That turns you into the adorer, the pursuer. And this is a problem because women are kind of like prey animals. When you start to chase them, a lot of them have this instinct deep inside of them to just run away. Even if it's from a really great relationship opportunity. Like they don't know that yet. They just feel you chasing, and so they just feel this impulse to run away. And even if it's wrong, this instinct is kind of in the service of their survival. Like it's more adaptive for them to run from a false positive than for them to not run from a false negative. Understand? This is why it's really important not to pursue women. If you do, in the vast majority of cases, you'll only succeed in chasing them right out of your life. I understand that this can be difficult, but as a man, it is essential that you keep a tight rein on your emotions. Finally meeting a woman that you're authentically excited about after months or years of unsatisfying engagement in the sexual marketplace is kind of like getting pocket aces in poker after a string of bad hands. If you start jumping up and down in your chair and pumping your fists in the air, you are going to blow that opportunity, man. So what do you do when you get pocket aces in poker? The same fucking thing you do on any other hand you get dealt in poker. You need to stick to your system and keep control of your emotions. Otherwise, that hand is going to be wasted on you, my friend. Mm-hmm. Run the experiment for yourself. Whatever you're doing to make that 6 pursue you for a relationship works. That is your system. Do the same thing with a 9 and observe the results. You're welcome. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience?
Absolutely, doctor. It does indeed. Look at this comment. I literally just did this with a woman who threw the gifts I gave her out of her car window, said I didn't appreciate her. She drank every day, didn't cook or clean, communicate, or really even look after herself. Our sex was the best I ever had by far. Typical, bro. What I tell you about the toxicity. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I fell for her before I really knew who she was. After a year, we're living together. One day she just leaves, never says why, insists she's not seeing anyone else. I don't believe her. Time to move on, I suppose, but damn, this one really hurt. Yep, that guy thought she was way better than him and put his own woman on a pedestal. Remember, boys, very simple. Confidence is simply how you treat her in relation to yourself. Has nothing to do with the money you're earning, the things you own, the title in society that you have. When she wants a confident man, it's how you treat her in relation to yourself. Pin that one deep in your brain next time you're out there so you could understand how to behave. Anyways, that was a good one. See you guys on the next one.